Alright, we are here in beautiful sunny Florida, and today, people, we are breaking down UFC Fight Night 98, Dos Anjos versus Ferguson, Mexico City, Mexico, and man, what a fight. Dos Anjos and Ferguson, both, in my opinion, top 15 pound for pound guys in the entire world. Just a great stylistic matchup. Both guys on a tear. I mean, Dos Anjos did lose his last fight, but he was on a tear before that, and he was winning the Eddie fight before Eddie landed that big shot. What I like about this, it's 5 rounds, so we're going to see what would have happened if Tony Ferguson would have got that title shot first before Eddie did. Would Tony have been the UFC champion? That question is going to be answered on Saturday, my friends. So, anything to get into with you guys in this intro here? I'm a little sick right now. It's fine though. I'm just gonna power through this, so bear with me. Anything else? Will Martin. Subscribe to Will Martin. Follow him on Twitter. He's been supportive of me since my very first day on here. Just shouts me out in all his videos. He's giving away a signed Conor McGregor picture, so go retweet his UFC 205 breakdown, comment on that video, like it, show the man some love because nobody deserves it more than him. But let's get into these fights, man. The rest of the fights, the main card is very good, but the prelims are lacking. But it's some fight night in Mexico. You can't expect too much. But first fight of the night, man. Enrique Barzola minus 550 taking on Chris Avila plus 425. It's funny, if you would have told me 2 fights ago that Enrique Barzola would be a minus 550, I'd be like, what are you, crazy? What are you talking about? Is he fighting CM Punk? But he just looked amazing in his last fight. He showed a lot of improvements. I had money on Bokniak, and Bokniak won that fight, but he robbed Barzola. That was a clear Barzola win. It is what it is. He showed improvements. He's getting a step down in competition, even though he won. Chris Avila, he got outclassed by Artem Lobov, and that's tough, man. I just don't think Chris Avila is UFC ready at all. I mean, maybe he has some promise in the future, but there's levels to this game, and right now, Enrique Barzola is on a much higher level. I like Enrique Barzola to mix up his kicks and his wrestling to a 30-26 decision. And when it comes to betting, even at minus 550, he's worth it in parlays. He opened at minus 350. I got him at minus 400. You gotta be quick with that stuff, but yeah, Barzola is the pick via decision. So next up is Marco Polo Reyes minus 175 taking on Jason Novelli plus 155. Man, that last fight Marco Polo had against Maestro Don Kim, that was one of the craziest fights you will ever see. Polo showed a great chin. He showed great striking, toughness, durability, anything you can ask for. He's improving every fight too, just like Barzola, the tough Latin guys. Once they get into bigger camps, Polo's in an alliance, and they're doing great things for him. He probably spars with Dominic Cruz all day. But Jason Novelli, he's 37 years old, man. It's tough. His striking defense did not look too great against David Tamor. David Tamor's a sharper striker than Marco Polo is, but man, I think Polo's got bigger power. I think it's pretty likely that Marco Polo gets the round 1 KO here, actually. So that is my pick. I do have Marco Polo via round 1 KO. I think he's going to land that big shot. And when it comes to betting, I do like Marco Polo at minus 175. I have him in a parlay. I think he's pretty solid. But yeah, man, not much to talk about here. I don't think Jason Novelli is UFC caliber either, but moving on here to the Fight Pass prelim main event. Sam Alvey, minus 230, taking on Alex Nicholson, minus 190. So this is a fun stylistical matchup, man. I really, really am confident that this fight does not go past the 7.5 minute mark, man. You gotta. It's funny, man. Sam Alvey, he's one of the nicest, most loved guys in MMA, and Alex Nicholson is one of the most hated guys in MMA. He yelled out racist remarks when he was cornering Mike Perry. He's got this domestic assault charge against his girlfriend. He's just not a very nice guy, but I think Karma will catch up to him, and Sam Alvey, I think he's sharper here. Alex Nicholson, Alex has got big power. It's absolutely not 100% that he won't knock out Alvey. He absolutely could, but I just think Sam Alvey's been in the UFC longer. He's got that more experience. I like him to knock out Alex Nicholson here in the first round, and that is my pick. And when it comes to betting, I wouldn't bet on either of these guys. I don't think Alex Nicholson's worth it at the price, and that's too much to pay for Sam Alvey. So the bet to make here is absolutely does not go the distance or the under. But moving on, next fight is Douglas Silva de Andrade, minus 160, taking on Henry Briones, plus 140. Man, strange fight, just based on the fact that both these guys haven't fought in like a year and a half. But both these guys are strikers. Briones, he's more of a volume guy, and Andrade likes to set up big shots. He's got big power. I believe he's like 23-1, and he's got like 18 knockouts. That's what he likes, man. He likes to set up that big shot, and Briones, he's a hard guy to finish. But he has been dropped a lot. He has been dropped in both his UFC fights. And also, Briones is 36 years old, and it is very tough to be a 36-year-old bantamweight. But I like Briones. I mean, I liked Andrade here to drop Briones a couple times, and I don't think he'll finish Briones, but I do have Andrade via a 29-28 decision. I think Briones could possibly win a round based on volume alone. But Douglas is the pick, and when it comes to this fight, I would recommend just completely staying away from it altogether. There's too many questions, both these guys being away too long. It's a weird matchup altogether, but yeah, man, Andrade is the pick via decision. So next up, got Max Payne Griffin, minus 160, taking on Eric Montano, plus 140. So, we got a classic striker versus grappler matchup here. Montano, he was winning that fight against Randy Brown until he got sloppy and caught in a guillotine. And Max Griffin, his first fight, he just got paired up with an absolute savage in Colby Covington. And, I could see Montano doing what Colby Covington did, but Montano is not the wrestler that Colby is. I think Max is going to have a lot more success here than he did in the Colby fight. I think this fight should be pick'em. Montano, he's a plus 140. I just don't trust Montano with my money, man. Maybe if he was something crazy like a plus 200, but not at this price. But my pick here is Max Griffin via a second round KO. I think he will eventually land that big shot in the second round. Montano's going to tire himself out going for takedowns in the first round, and then Griffin's going to capitalize in the second or third round. So, yeah, man, not much to talk about here. Neither of these guys are very good, but I do like Griffin via a second round TKO. So next, this fight just got added. There's no line out for it yet, but Joe Soto taking on Marco Beltran. I didn't even do tape study yet. I've had a busy couple of days, but this is at a 140 catch weight. The biggest thing that sticks out of my mind here is, Marco is getting ready for this fight. He's in shape. He's getting acclimated to the Mexican weather or altitude, but Joe Soto, I mean, it's tough to come into Mexico on short notice with that altitude. I don't know how that's going to play out. This fight's a pick'em in my eyes. I think, man, that's a tough pick. I'm just going to go with Joe Soto via decision. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter here, but that short notice in Mexico is really tough, but Joe Soto, decision is the pick. And next up is Eric Perez, minus 185, taking on Felipe Arantes, plus 160. This is another interesting matchup, man. Eric Perez has really, really impressed me in the last two performances against Lapilus and Rivera, and I'm very high on both of those guys, so I was impressed with Perez in those last couple of fights. Arantes, he's coming off two arm lock victories. Not against the greatest competition in the world, but I just think Goyito here has faced the better competition. I think he's more well-rounded than Arantes. I think he's going to be able to keep it on the feet and stay away from Felipe's dangerous submission game. I like Goyito to outbox him and stuff takedowns. Things could absolutely get interesting on the ground. Arantes, he would be a decent dog play, but I'm gonna stay away from that. And I don't think Perez is gonna be able to finish Arantes. Arantes is a tough guy, so I am gonna go with Eric Perez via a 30-27 decision, and I actually have a bet on Eric Perez wins via decision at plus 145. But you know, I it depends on your read on this fight, man. I just think this is a good matchup for Perez, and I definitely think he'll win by decision. So that's where I end up on my Eric Perez decision bet. But Perez decision is the pick. So next up, moving on to the main card here, we got Alexa Grasso minus 470 making her UFC debut against Heather Jo Clark plus 375. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this fight. I mean, I'm definitely super confident in Alexa Grasso, but I think the line is right. Clark, she's actually just a really good fighter. It's just a matter of me thinking so highly of Alexa Grasso, man. I mean, she's the future. She's amazing. She's really amazing. She's great at everything. She's improving very quickly. She had her first fight a couple months ago, and it was her first fight in like a year. So I actually bet a half unit against her just because she was such a big favorite. She absolutely destroyed Jodie Escobar. Alexa Grasso is no joke, and with that super high level boxing and good fight IQ, I think she could. I think she could absolutely piece Heather Jo Clark up on the feet here. I mean, Heather's a vet; she's seen it all. I just don't think she's gonna have anything for Alexa here. Heather's 36 years old. She's on the downward slope to where Alexa Grasso is on the upward slope. Man, it's tough. I think Heather's probably tough enough to not get finished. So I am going to go with Alexa Grasso via 30-27 decision here, and I do have her in a parlay, and I have a play on Alexa Grasso via decision at minus 140. But Grasso decision is the pick. So next up is Claudio Puelles minus 110 taking on Martin Bravo minus 110. This is the finale of The Ultimate Fighter right here. It's funny, I watched the first, three episodes of this series. It's not that great, but Claudio Puelles, I immediately picked him out, having a very, very good skill set. I immediately thought to myself, this guy's clearly going to win the competition. And then I did my research on Martin Bravo, and man, he is no joke either. I mean, these two guys absolutely miles ahead of everybody else that was on this season. These two guys are by far the two best. They dominated everyone they fought. And I'm really excited to see them fight each other here. I think this should be a very fun fight. It's even money for a reason, but man, I don't even know who to pick here. I mean, I think Bravo's the sharper boxer, but I think Puelles has more tools. It's very interesting. It gets interesting on the ground here. I don't know if Puelles could submit Bravo, but I definitely think he could school him on the ground. And I do think a majority of this fight is going to be scrambles on the ground, but man, my gut tells me Puelles, so I am going to go with Puelles via a 29-28 decision, and I would just stay away from this fight betting-wise, but yeah, man, I like Puelles here. So moving on, we got Rashid Magomedov, minus 135, taking on Beneil Dariush, plus 115. Man, this is an amazing fight. Just amazing fight. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. I've been looking forward to Rashid for a long time, man. He's been out for a while, and he's amazing. He's one of the very best strikers in MMA. But Benny's no joke, man. Benny is no joke, and he opened at plus 165, and I took that shot immediately without tape study. I just feel like Benny's too well-rounded, man. I feel like he's going to be able to get around that sharp striking of Magomedov. It's tough. It's not going to be easy for Benny, of course. I just think that at plus 165, what he was earlier, that's craziness. And Beneil, he's got the. I think he's going to be able to take Rashid down and out grapple and maybe even get a submission, but we'll see. I think Magomedov will probably be able to outstrike him and keep it on the feet for at least one round. But I am going to go with Beneil Dariush via a 29-28 decision here, and I do have that play on him. Just an amazing fight. I love the way Rashid strikes. He's so smart when it comes to striking. He reminds me a lot of Mirabek Taisumov. That would be an amazing fight if they ever fought. But, man, I just think Benny's got too many tools, and, obviously his striking has come a long way, too. You look at what he just did to James Vick. But, yeah, I am going to go with Beneil Dariush via a 29-28 decision here. So, moving on, we got Marcin Held minus 275 taking on Diego Sanchez plus 235. This is probably the fight I've thought the most about besides Tony and RDA. This fight, I've been all over the place on this fight. I've been going back and forth between thinking this is going to be dominant for Marcin to thinking this is like a pick'em to back to thinking this is a dominant fight for Marcin. This fight opened at even money, and I thought it was an even money fight then, and then by the time I realized that Marcin is probably going to dominate him, he's a minus 275. So I really wish I could have got that even money on Marcin. That would have been nice, but it is what it is. I do like Marcin Held a lot here, obviously. I don't know what Diego can do here. This is a tough fight for old Diego. Diego's definitely on a downslope. He's obviously been known for his chin all these years, and Joe Lozon just pieced him up in a minute, so he's not the same Diego. Marcin Held is a young kid on his way up. He's improving his striking too. I know he's mostly known as a jiu-jitsu guy, but his striking is amazing. He's got big power too. I could see him knocking out Diego Sanchez here, but I could see Diego surviving, Marcin, this is his first fight in the UFC. He could have some kind of jitters. But I am going to go with Marcin Held via a 30-27 decision here. I just think he's going to be too much for Diego. But, yeah, when it comes to betting, Marcin, I think he's still worth it in parlays. He's a solid pick here. Like I said, wish I could have got that even money, but it's all good. But moving on to the co-main event here, a fight that came together on very, very short notice. We got Charles Oliveira minus 120 taking on Ricardo Lamas plus 100. I've been struggling with this fight. I mean, it just depends. It all depends, man. I mean, Ricardo Lamas, if he can keep this on the feet and outbox Oliveira, I mean, he's going to make it look easy. He's going to make it look absolutely easy. But Charles Oliveira, he's still so young in this game, man, and he's getting better every fight. He looked amazing against Anthony Pettis, even in that loss. I thought that was a very bad matchup for Charles Oliveira, and he surprisingly did so much better than I thought he would. I thought he clearly won that round 2. That round 3 he was winning until he got he got submitted by Pettis, but just a crazy fight here. I am going to go with Charles Oliveira via decision. I think he's going to be able to. He's so good at taking the back. I think he's just going to be able to take the back of Lamas and control him for at least a round or two. I mean, he's just so good at that. He can hang in the striking with Lamas, but I definitely think Lamas is a lot more sharper there. But man, I don't see Lamas getting submitted. This is just a strange matchup. I mean, maybe we just haven't had enough time to think about it because it came up so shortly. Lamas, of course, was supposed to fight BJ Penn and Vanilla, but that fight got canceled. That whole card got canceled. But Lamas, his jitsu is just so good that I don't think Oliveira is going to be able to submit him. You never know. Oliveira is an absolute wizard. I watched him submit Miles Jury live with a standing guillotine. That was amazing. But yeah, I do see Charles winning this fight via decision. I think he's going to be able to control Lamas for at least 2 rounds, and I do have a play on Oliveira. I thought about it, and I do have a play on Oliveira. I wouldn't put too much on him, but it is what it is. So moving on to the fight we all want to hear about. We got Tony Ferguson, RDA. RDA minus 150, Tony Ferguson plus 130. I believe this fight opened up at even money, and then some money came in on RDA. But rightfully so, man. I think this is a very good fight for RDA. I mean, unless he's absolutely like diminished after that knockout by Eddie Alvarez. And it wasn't even a knockout, it was just a standing TKO. RDA showed so much heart to stay in that fight, man. The referee just was forced to step in. He was just taking so many shots. It's amazing. He stood standing. And Eddie Alvarez has big power. But, man, Tony Ferguson has been an absolute roll. But I just don't think he's got the tools to beat Eddie or Dos Anjos. I mean, that's a stupid thing to say. I shouldn't say that, but it's going to be a motherfucker to go out there and beat Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos really, the only way to beat Dos Anjos is to hit him with a big shot and slow down the aggression. And Tony Ferguson's even more aggressive than RDA is, and that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to be aggressive against RDA. RDA is such a good counterpuncher and a good wrestler. I think RDA is going to hit Tony with a big shot in that first round. Tony's going to realize real quick what he's dealing with, and I see him getting dropped. He got dropped against Venata. Venata didn't have the skills to finish him. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think RDA has the skills to finish Tony Ferguson, and I think that is my pick, man. I have RDA via a first round TKO. I think that Tony's going to do what Tony usually does. He's going to go for all these crazy submissions. He's going to find out real quick that he's not going to be able to come close to it. He's going to go for these crazy strikes. He's going to open himself up, and RDA is going to capitalize, and he is not going to give Tony an inch to recover like Lando Venata did. RDA is just a savage. It's nice to see that both these guys trained at altitude for a very long time now. They're going to be in shape, ready to go 5 rounds if it goes there, but I don't think it goes even 4 rounds. I think the best play to make here is the under 3.5. I was surprised it was set at 3.5. I thought it would be 2.5, maybe even 1.5. But man, I do like RDA a lot here. It's tough to bet against Tony Ferguson, so I might last minute play RDA if some money comes on Ferguson and RDA becomes close to even money again, but the only play I have here is the under, and I would recommend that to everybody, is playing the under. I do see RDA finishing Tony, or Ferguson just wearing RDA down, and you never know how diminished RDA is after that big knockout loss. You don't know how much that does to a guy, and RDA has been around for a very, very long time, so you just don't know when a guy like that's just going to completely drop off skill-wise. Ferguson, he's still young. There's no way Ferguson is going to be diminished after that Lando fight. Obviously, it was amazing for him to come back and get that second round sub, but man, I can't wait to watch this fight. Like, I think about it at least like once an hour every single day. Dos Anjos Ferguson, and it's just amazing that we're getting this fight a week before UFC 205. We're getting this amazing fight, and then UFC 205 a week later, but that is my breakdown for this card, UFC Fight Night 98. Subscribe, like the video. Definitely subscribe, though. We'll be on a lookout for my UFC 205 breakdown. Hopefully I'm not as sick as I was for this one. I'm sorry if I sounded terrible. I was sniffling the whole time. Probably rough for you guys to watch, but I wanted to do this. I didn't want to pussy out. I have a big few days coming up, going up to Georgia to watch my brother graduate from the Marines, and then going up north. I'm going to be up north for UFC 205. Going to watch that with the fam and some friends, but yeah, man, enough about me. Going to wrap this up. Wow, this went a lot longer than I thought it would, but good stuff to talk about here, so I'm going to let you guys go. Like I said, subscribe, like the video, follow me on Twitter at MMAKelton, hit me up, talk fights with me. I love talking to everybody, but that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. Enjoy the fights.